Welcome to Channel 35, H&D, the hand, and I am Matthew, and I'm streaming an update today for my Lord Xander deck, which is also the background for my PC. so, I do take a lot of pride in this deck. It's a lot of fun to play. It's more of a mid-range deck in Commander. It could arguably use a little bit more creatures, but it plays the way it plays as like a control deck right now. So yeah, it's only got like 19 creatures. So it's a little light. It's a little light. I may need to tweak that just a little. So let's go over the basics. So let me blow this up all the way. Okay. So here you got Arcane Signet. So we're just gonna like churn and burn through these. So it's got an artifact, acceleration pack, but mostly for color fixing. Mostly for color fixing, because it's a 3-color deck. So Signet, Commander Sphere, Dimmer Signet, Is It Signet? It's got Lightning Greaves for haste, Mana Crypt for extreme mana ridiculousness, Mind Stone because you want acceleration, but sometimes you need to draw a card later on. Neverall's Disc to blow the board. Very often Neverall's Disc is a little bit too slow these days, but if you get it out and blow the board, you're gonna crush them. So O-Stone is perfect. It does exactly what you need it to do, pretty much all the time. Scroll Rack is part of the in and out. It might change to something else. Shadow Sphere is also part of the in and out. I needed some form of life gain in this deck, so I threw in a Shadow Sphere. Being realistic, this may eventually be cut for something else that gains me life. I'm not sure what at the moment. Soul Ring, Swiftfoot Boots, Talisman. Now, I only have 19 creatures in the deck, plus my commander is more of a control deck. Some other effects create creatures, but let's go over the creatures. So, Author of Shadows is directly steal from your opponent's graveyard, any card you want. Baleful's Tricks is kill something from blocking usually and draw a card. Voidwalker is not quite as good. Thinking about getting rid of it. Dazzling Sphinx, steal instants and sorceries out of their library. Eltai, top of the library, steal, very good. Fallen Shinobi, top of the library, steal. Ithmirith, Desert Doom is a 5/5 dragon that draws you cards, and it has ward while it's untapped. So it can't die the first turn, but maybe it can die next turn. Junji is one of those hyper efficiency creatures, which makes your opponent discard or you steal a creature. Karari is another hyper efficiency creature where you either bounce things or mill and get a kill spell. So Lord Xander the Commander doesn't usually come into play that often. It's not like a focus per se. I'm usually focused on controlling the game, and then eventually it comes into play and they discard some cards. But I will say I'm definitely thinking about adding more creatures because it feels a little light. Because like you're reliant on getting one good creature and then running that through pretty much. Like Nashi's amazing. It just steals cards from top of the deck. Revagan, also amazing. As long as you get it early. If you get it within like the first 3 turns, it's good. Otherwise, the way it works later game is you kill their stuff and then it gets through, and then you steal something, which is it's okay. Raksha Debaser is part of the hyper efficiency package. You steal your opponent's creatures, and it's a big creature itself. And Shadowkin, I've unfortunately never really drawn Shadowkin in a game, but it fits the mill idea that some of your deck wants some mill, not a lot of mill. I really don't play the mill draw theme. I really don't. Sheldred is a recent addition because I wanted another creature. I wanted another big creature and needed to kill something. Part of like the hyper efficiency theme. And it pretty much just checked every box on that. Yes, it costs 7. Yes, it's difficult to play in this deck. Because I don't have graveyard cheat in. Because I'm focused on like mostly library steal from my opponent. Thief of Sanity, library steal feels really underpowered and slow lately, so maybe it'll eventually work its way out. Westgate Regent is like crazy amazing. It protects itself, it doubles its counters. Yeah, you're gonna crush somebody with Westgate Regent. Like, yes, you just say yes. Wildpower Devil's always been good. Free instance sorceries are amazing. Xandar is always good. You have to have a little bit of a control, like you can't like die next turn, but you play Xandar, they can't play spells, and then you're just wheeling from the top of their library at that point. Okay. So next up is Black Market Connections, new edition. Took out Cemetery Illuminator for this. Cemetery Illuminator sucked. Like, it sucked. So let's pop over here to the old deck list for now, just so you can see 3-cost Cemetery Illuminator, along with other things that have been taken out. So like Cemetery Illuminator was a creature that sometimes exiled and sometimes drew cards from top of your library. So, but the Graveyard Exile became super irrelevant in many games of playtesting, and the top of the library became super irrelevant in many games of playtesting. So that's why I got cut. Again, I reduced my creature amount, but this can create a creature if you really, really need it. Yeah, but then you run into the issue of life gain. There's only one card in the deck that can let you gain life. Then we got new card Baleful Mastery. Baleful Mastery replaced 2-drop Argos Rampage. Arguably, I could put Argos Rampage back in, and it wouldn't make that much of a difference. It's pretty much, do I directly need to kill a creature for 2, which sometimes I do, and sometimes it's better, and I'm fine with them drawing the card if it's like a really creature that I have to kill. Because most of the time, Argos Rampage just nukes an artifact early game, which is super important. So it might change back to this. It might. Okay, so we got Bedevil. Capsize. Capsize is a technically new edition. I'd have to look pretty hard to figure out exactly what card I took out from this version. Not quite sure. Let's see if there's anything that just sticks out like a sore thumb here. Let's see. It might have been Bolus's Citadel, honestly. The problem with Bolas' Citadel is that it costs triple black. And yes, it draws you cards for free. Yes, it totally does that. That's amazing. But triple black is difficult. And already being low on life and getting a Bolas' Citadel is just not worth it. So I think it got taken out for that. So Cross Charms in, Cyclonic Rift. Divide by Zero is another one of those removal spells that you kind of like, kind of don't like. Wish there was something better. It's a delay tactic, and you literally can't use Learn for the first part, so you have to discard, draw a card, or do nothing. So man, Hurl Through Hell has been in the cutting block for a while, but I keep running into scenarios where this is relevant, where exile matters, and I'd rather just keep the creature exiled rather than recasting it. So this might just stay for now. Call Command, Mana Drain. Let's see what I took out for a Mana Drain. Maybe I think it was Time Warp. Taking an extra turn wasn't relevant. So Pact Negation, Prismari Command, because you just have to kill those artifacts. Like, okay, you keep playing your stuff over there, guy. I'm gonna blow up your artifacts. I think there's 4 or 5 cards that can optionally just straight up kill artifacts in here. Reinterpret, you could argue it's overcosted, but I'd argue it's amazing. Usually on your turn 4, your opponent might be accelerating faster than you because you're playing like a normal mid-range control deck. So you can reinterpret something big bad from your hand while you're controlling the game. So you're countering a spell and putting like a creature directly into play. So there's no downside besides the fact that it costs 4. Terminate, Vampiric Tutor. Okay, onto the Planeswalker section. So Planeswalkers, so Ashiok is part of the control package. Might eventually change, but it does make creatures as well to protect itself. That's not always relevant. If that's relevant, you're probably just winning. It's mostly there for the return exile, which is really temperamental. Yes, it works. Yes, they're exiling a card from their hand, but it's maybe not the card you needed them to exile. Dak Faden's always good. Part of the artifact control package. And then after you gain control of the artifact, you draw and discard cards that you don't need in your hand. Jace the Mind Sculptor, removal package, and draw cards. Because it bounces and draw cards, and you really never ever use the +2. Like, if you're using the +2, you are seriously crushing it. Like, you have no reason to draw cards. Are you sure? So, Liliana's Death's Majesty, also like built-in effects like return a creature from my graveyard to the battlefield, or optionally just pump mill creatures, and for some graveyard return functions I have in the deck. Could change it to something else. I might need to change this to like a creature that does this. I'm already playing Sheoldred. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Nicobolas is the exception to the 3 triple black. I'm still trying to play this, and usually you just have to focus when it's in your hand and really play certain lands at a certain time. And if you have fetch lands, you need to fetch correctly to get that triple black. Nickbolt's Planeswalker just costs 8, so it's a little slow but amazing. Obnixilis, 5. It destroys a creature, draws a card, does everything you needed to do. Damnation, Demonic Tutor, Dreadbore, Expressive Iteration is a new addition. What was I messing around with for? So previously I was messing around with Aldrun here, and the flip side is I can't go to this flip side. No? Okay. Well, Aldrun, and I'll just search it up. So the reason this was in here, because it's a 2-drop, and it's all that scries and filters cards, which is good, and the deck is creature light, and I did take out 2 creatures, so but this didn't win me the game ever, and this wasn't relevant pretty much, not much, not often. It really wasn't. So that's why I got caught. Like, it wasn't a big creature, the draw wasn't that great, it was too situational. Yeah. Oh, Necrotic Hex. Necrotic Hex I consider a creature at 7 because of what it does. The deck doesn't play a lot of creatures. It probably needs to find a way to squeak in some more creatures to make sure I win the game. But no, Necrotic Hex, each player sacrifices 6 creatures. If you're playing this, you probably have no creatures. You create 6 tap 2/2 zombie creature tokens. So that's the idea. You pay 7, you blow the board because generally nobody has more than 6 creatures. Then you create an army of 2/2 zombies, and then you win. And it's generally been really good. Expensive for 7, but generally really good. River's Rebuke could be cut for something else. It's redundancy, bounce all permanents. The deck is creature light. If I'm finding I'm not winning because I don't have enough creatures, I will definitely cut this. It's been a while since I've done like a really hard and fast like card search for this to update it. I've been focusing on my green deck, and that is the whole deck in its current version. And I think the only things I need to touch now are the land, so I didn't go over land. The land really hasn't changed much. I will show you the one card I believe I've changed and go from there as soon as I see it. So let's see. Just a mention of Volrath Stronghold. It's okay. It definitely won me a game because I returned Author of Shadows with Volrath Stronghold to the top of my library, stole somebody's Genesis Wave, and then won the game. So yeah. So the one singular new addition here is Xander's Lounge. I didn't want to put it in, but I'm still having issues with triple black. So I cut out a mountain for Xander's Lounge. And if I find something else worth cutting out as a triple land, I'll probably eventually cut out this island. Don't know if there's anything else I would put in I mean, there are definitely more all color lands that come into play tapped that I could put in, but I really don't want to do that. I hate coming to play tap lands, and I structured the deck in a way to prevent that. And this fits the structure of the deck really well. Yes, there are other come into play tap lands that are Island Swamp or Mountain Swamp, whatever. I'm not going to play those because those are hot garbage, and you shouldn't play those either. But Xander's Lounge is all colors, and it searches for all fetch lands. So there's literally no downside whatsoever. I'll give a quick search just to see if there's anything else that's Island, Swamp, Mountain. I don't think there is, but let's find out. This is my power green search that's going on. I might need to pause that. I think the green deck is updated enough right now. So let's go into advanced. No. Okay, so rules text. Actually, type. It's a type, isn't it? Yeah, it's a type. It's a swamp. Ah, not a type. Alright, well, land. Land, please. Subtype. Is it subtype? Swamp. Yep. Mountain. Island. And let's give it a go. I don't know, Gather's always really slow and you don't use cookies. Okay, so there's literally only one card. It's Xander's Lounge. I didn't think there'd be anything else. You know what, let me just back up and do a Swamp Mountain search, because sometimes Gather is terrible. Like, sometimes it's just terrible. Land. Subtype. Swamp. Island. This will bring up a ton of stuff, but we'll just check quick. So yeah, this is the other stuff you could play if you really wanted to. You could play Fetid Pools or Contaminated Aquifer. You shouldn't, but you could, and they made an ice version of it. That's obnoxious. Don't have a way to return lands, or else I may consider Fetid Pools, but no. Plains, Island, Swamp, nope. Oh, that's from the same set though. Sunken Hollow and ability to tap. Let's control 2 or more basic lands. I will never control 2 or more basic lands. And then goes Xander's Lounge, and yeah, that was it. I was right. So yeah, there's only one, and it's all you really need. Because tap land wise, I got Xander's Lounge, which is all colors. Like that's mostly what I consider useful for a tap land, is all colors or some really good ability. So Path of Ancestry, all colors. I occasionally get to scry, so there's that. I have a vampire in the deck. And a Crumbling Necropolis, all colors. And most of these don't come into play tap. Sometimes they do, but Bojuka Bog. Bojuka Bog because you need Graveyard Exile. And I actually reread Bojuka Bog recently. It's exile all cards from target player's graveyard, which I thought it was all, but I'm fine with that still. It's a tutorable 0 mana Graveyard Exile. The only downside is sometimes you have to play it, and then you're stuck with 1 graveyard removal from the other. Where is it? Shadows, Author of Shadows, Shade Warlock. You're stuck with that as your 1 graveyard removal. The desert one exiles all yards. Yeah, I could play that. I know which one you're referring to. I just don't really need it per se. I kind of want to keep the colors on black. I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, that is the version 2-5 update for Lord Xander. Don't know if I have anything else to show on this. I think I have a couple considerations to show. Couple more considerations up here. Just for example, I was considering Hellkite Cursor, cost 6. I could use my commander as a spell. Hellkite Cursor is only a 6/5 though. It doesn't really... Enters the battlefield and put your commander you own from the command zone on the battlefield. It gains haste. Return to the battlefield command zone at the beginning of the next step. So it's a 6/5 dragon, which is pretty weak by the standards of my deck, honestly. Yeah, they could discard cards and they would mill, but I don't really care. That doesn't really work. Jin-Gitaxias, the new one, just because I'm really sick of having this played against me, and it's disgustingly overpowered. It's like whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. This ability only triggers once its turn. Whenever opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's brutally ridiculous. It really is. I'm not currently playing Toxic Deluge, but I could. It's a really good removal spell. This seemed a little weak, but it was in consideration. It's a 5/4 flying. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and has Toxic 1. A little weak, but a lot of my creatures was synergized with that. Hate Mirage, copy 2 of your opponent's creatures. You'd think that's good, and it is, but it might not quite get you there. Oh, the one, yep, Stinging Study. That was a hot topic. So Stinging Study may just go immediately in and immediately replace Scroll Rack. There's a really high chance that's going to happen. Just because Stinging Study is literally that good. It's just literally that good. It's just... It fixes so many problems the deck has. Like yesterday... I won't Stinging Study come back up. Stinging Study? There we go. You draw X cards, you lose X life, or X is the mana value of your commander you own on the battlefield or in a command zone, so you just draw 7 cards, and yeah, you just smash people. Draw 7 cards. Hall of Storm Giants. Why won't that come up? Hall of Storm Giants. So I don't really like tap lands, like I was saying before. But if you control 2 or more other lands, Hall of Gemstones, tap, whatever. Until on a turn, Hall of Storm Giants becomes a 7/7 blue giant creature token, and with Ward 3, it's still a land. So I was really considering this just to shove more creatures in the deck. Has Ward 3. You're probably controlling it anyway. You don't need it for I don't know, most of the beginning turns of the game. So you literally only need it at like turn 7. Um, then it just taps for blue otherwise. So I could just swap that in. Am I still playing Triple Island? I'm still playing Triple Island. So I could literally just swap that in. Or there was Ottawa Soaring City I could swap in. Doesn't come into play tapped. But at the same time, you don't want to like play it. Discard Ottawa the Soaring City, return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So it's a bounce effect. I'm pretty sure I have literally no way to get this land back. Like, no way at all. I got creature return, I got instant sorcery return. No way to get this land back. So that's the downside. And I think that's it. So, oh, I just added a card in here, didn't I? Okay, so let me just take it out. It was I think it was instant. There it is. So I feel like in the very near future, after I give Scroll Rack a try, Scroll Rack is going to be cut and Stinging Study is going to go in its place. Because there were definitely scenarios where I literally had Sensei's Divining Top out. It served no purpose whatsoever. I had like 2 cards in my hand. Weren't that great. The cards I was going to draw weren't that great. So the whole option for Stinging Study would have been a lot better in that scenario. And my life wasn't even that low, honestly. It really wasn't. So I think I'll probably proxy up Stinging Study and give it a chance. Yeah, I'm gonna cut Scroll Rack. I was thinking it was really on the fence for a while, but Stinging Study does what I want it to do. Scroll Rack occasionally does what I want it to do. If I find that I'm not low, if I'm too low on life and that my 1 life gain effect isn't helping me, I'll have to retweak the deck again. But there's only been a couple cards in and out since the deck's originally been made. You can check out the other version online. So I just labeled this one 2-5 just so you know like what it is. Like there's only a couple cards. A couple cards has been added, but you can check them all out on Moxfield. I post all my deck lists up there. I do spend a lot of time on them, so I'm very proud of my decks. They're a lot of fun to play. And I will have the new version of this deck posted online after the stream is over, and kind of go from there. I don't think I have too much more Magic the Gathering stuff to work on today, so I think that's it. I think this is just going to be a deck update. So I appreciate you tuning in. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's not all Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of combination of things. I do post on my Twitter channel new videos that I put out. Again, not all Magic the Gathering. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. This has been Matthew over at Channel 35, HAND, The Hand, and have a good day.